All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story involving a based father who decided to strip down at a school board meeting in protest of a new lax student dress code policy. Now, again, this takes place out in Arizona, and the new recommended policy says, quote, clothing must cover all private body parts and or undergarments and must not be see-through. Undergarment wristbands and or straps that are incidentally visible under clothing are permitted. However, undergarments may not be worn as clothing. So basically, this dress code essentially eliminates restrictions on tank tops. You can show midriff and more, right? It is a looser dress code policy. One person on the governing board said, quote, these are kids. They're not at a job. And I recognize at the end of the day, this is the most job that they have, but we need to allow freedom. Okay. Now, again, the criticism here is that the existing policies, the ones in place, the more stricter dress code disproportionately targeted female students. Basically, there was a problem with just requiring female students, girls, to cover up, right? The governing board president, Tiffany Schultz, said, quote, we're saying that they need to cover up because of the way it might make someone else feel, and that is wrong. So clearly, again, you got some woke revolutionaries running this school board. And again, this father decided to protest this new proposed policy by showing the consequences of implementing the policy firsthand. Take a look.
All right, Cam, thanks. New at 10, a dress code debacle in the East Valley. A Gilbert school district has been discussing possible changes to his dress code, making it less strict. But the proposed changes have a lot of parents concerned.
Team 12's Bianca Bono is live for us outside the Higley Unified School District with all the details. Bianca?
Yeah, guys, good evening. The policy has one parent so concerned he decided to strip down at a school board meeting to make a statement.
If you ask me, this is inappropriate for a board meeting.
You might be wondering, why is a parent wearing this to a school board meeting?
I really had to make a statement.
This is Ira Latham, a Gilbert father with 4 kids in the Higley Unified School District.
These are my babies. These are my kids. I'm concerned about them.
In May, the district started dress code discussions, looking to update the policy, which hadn't been changed since 2001.
This is a very polarizing and controversial subject.
Board members split on the issue, some advocating for a new, looser dress code policy, eliminating restrictions, allowing for exposed midriff and spaghetti straps and halter tops, saying the existing policies disproportionately target female students.
We're saying that they need to cover up because of the way it might make someone else feel, and that is wrong.
Others advocating for a more modest dress code.
If we are prepping our children to be college and career ready, then they need to learn to be able to have self-respect.
The proposed policy also catching the attention of parents like Latham.
My concerns were about preparing students for entering the workforce, setting the right expectations, having respect for other students in the classroom.
After speaking out at a prior meeting, Latham opted for a different strategy last month.
Under the proposed policy, this would be appropriate in a classroom.
Latham stripping down to a crop top with spaghetti straps and very short shorts.
The dress code that they wanted to get to is just basically a dress code for a public pool. Make sure that kids cover their underwear, and that's about it.
But despite Latham's demonstration, the board not skirting the issue, in a 3-2 vote, they approved the new, more lenient policy.
It's going to be harder for the teachers to have to deal with this new policy. It's going to be more distracting in the classroom, and it's going to have some parents that want to pull their kids out of the districts.
And I did call and email the school district requesting an interview, but so far I have not heard back. One school member did suggest if this new policy poses problems, they can always explore changing it again. We're live in Gilbert tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, Bianca, thanks.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Did you guys notice the makeup of the school board, right? It was basically all women, including like a blue-haired woman as well, too. Okay, so you know that the school board was probably comprised of a bunch of woke women, okay? Because only woke women would advocate to loosen the dress code to the point where young girls can dress up the way that father dressed up to go to school, right? Which, again, is totally inappropriate, right? I mean, it's for as uncomfortable as that made me feel seeing that father dressed that way. Again, this is what these women on the school board are advocating for young girls to come to school dressed up as. And it's just wrong. It really is. Okay. I agree with one of the women who seemed to have some common sense and decency saying, look, school should be a place where we're preparing students for the real world. Okay. And in the real world, in a professional setting, you have to actually wear clothes, right? You can't come to work in a crop top and Daisy Dukes. Okay. Unless, you're working for, some, adult industry or something like that. Maybe that's where you can show up to work basically with no clothes on, but not an actual real professional work setting. But then again, considering the influences that, we're pushing on young girls, a lot of these young girls don't really want to grow up and get real jobs anyways. They want to grow up and be Instagram models, right? And, some of these girls are pushed into doing OnlyFans and stuff like that. So then again, I mean, who knows? Some of these woke women on the school board may see it in some way as being career preparation in regards to, again, the influences that are pushed on young girls. But regardless, again, the goal, again, should be for school to prepare kids for the real world. And once again, we have another policy being implemented by the woke school board that is doing the opposite of that, okay? It's already bad enough that our education system doesn't focus on preparing kids for the real world because, one, they don't know how to read, write, do math, and then two, they're not taking classes that actually really prepare them to get a job, okay? They're not taking courses that actually give them skills that they're going to need in the real world. They're not doing that anymore in school, okay? What is happening in school is that school has become a woke indoctrination factory, okay? It's become a place that, kids just go to during the day to be babysat, and that's it, okay? They don't learn anything. They get indoctrinated in woke ideology. They don't learn any type of real personal responsibility or accountability. They don't learn any of that stuff, okay? School is essentially becoming pointless at this point, right? And again, what you're seeing here is the deterioration of standards. Now, growing up, when I went to school, I had to wear uniforms. Now, not the whole time I was in school. I think maybe in middle school I had to wear uniforms. And then maybe a couple years in high school I had to wear uniforms. But going back and forth, right, because I went to a lot of different schools growing up because I moved around. Personally, the schools that had a uniform policy had less of an issue with dress code, right? You didn't have issues of girls coming to school with booty shorts on and their chest out and their stomachs out and, just not dressed appropriately. You didn't have those issues because the dress code was clear. So with that being said, I actually am an advocate of uniforms because I had to wear them growing up. Now, growing up, I didn't like it. Okay, I thought it was, not a great thing, but as I became older, I actually went on to appreciate uniforms, right? At the very least, I didn't have to decide what to wear or have too many issues with the dress code and trying to figure out if I'm compliant because it was pretty straightforward. Now, again, I don't know. Maybe some people think that uniforms cause problems. I personally don't. I think that uniforms are good. And I think that, generally speaking, it should be required in most schools that kids come to school in some type of uniform. That way you just don't deal with any of the nonsense, right? And, I think it also teaches a good lesson for kids and teaching them how to dress in a way that is respectable and presentable, okay? Which, again, it seems to be a lost art in 2023. We don't teach kids to respect themselves, especially young girls. We're essentially allowing young girls to just dress the way they want, to carry themselves the way they want, and then we wonder why so many women grow up and they, get into, a lot of this degenerate behavior and activity that they do is because, again, we're pushing it on them at a young age. And again, I think that this is a part of it. Now, when it comes to this father, shout out to him for making the statement that he made, even though the woke school board decided to vote for this silly policy anyways. He's a father that loves his kids, right? He loves his kids so much that he decided to reveal himself. Okay, I mean, I would say in some aspects you could say maybe it was a little bit embarrassing considering how he had a dad bod. But then again, hey, I guess dad bods are in, right, in some circles, right? Some people like dad bods, but he put himself out there in a way that was uncomfortable in order to make a point. And I heard his point loud and clear. It's just unfortunate that, again, the woke school board did not, right? They didn't see why somebody coming to school dressed like that is inappropriate, how that can be distracting, how that can cause problems, how that can cause issues. They decided to go along with this nonsense anyways. Again, the deterioration of standards in our society is probably one of the biggest issues that we have. And once again, you're saying that we're pushing this on young people, and then we wonder why the younger generation, why they are the way they are, is because they're not being held to any standards, right? There's no longer this concept of excellence or holding ourselves to a high standard and having self-respect anymore in this country. It really is sad, okay, how our culture has deteriorated into what it is. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.